Hello and welcome to this week's Midweek Message. It is Wednesday, August 31st, 2022. Glad to be back doing the Midweek Message after I took a little time off. I was out of town. As a matter of fact, many of you know that I just returned from a trip to Iona, a small island in the Inner Hebrides, the island archipelago on the west coast of Scotland. I went there to spend a week at the Iona Abbey as a guest, along with more than 40 other guests from around the world. The week there has a rhythm focusing on worship, work, and prayer. Each day, the community gathers for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and also gathers for worship and prayer at the beginning and end of each day. And each guest is given a small task to do every day while you're staying on the island. I went there with a friend, and we gladly entered into the rhythm of the week. It takes time, though, to become accustomed to the pattern of life there because it's slower and more deliberate than life at home. It takes a day or two to turn off the impulse to do more, to accomplish something. It even takes time to stop feeling a little bit guilty for not being more productive. The time there was blessedly free of technology, deadlines, and tasks. We were able to soak in a time of simply being together in a community with others. We were able to rest and in the quiet, hopefully hear the voice of the Lord speaking every now and then. On the final night, I asked my friend what important things he had learned from our time there, if anything at all. After thinking for a moment, he said he didn't have any great personal discovery or breakthrough, but he did have an experience that he won't soon forget that permeated the entire week. He told me that the week there had been, for him, the first Sabbath rest he had taken in a long time. That resonated with me. I'd forgotten the power of Sabbath rest that we all so desperately need but rarely take. Recent scholarship has emphasized again the need for human beings to slow down, to rest, to take a break from our constant work and the pressures of the 24/7 cycle of information and our need to get things done. Our contemporary world constantly presses on us with email, mobile phones, text messages, social media. Constant access to the world of facts and the demands of work often robs us of our ability to unplug and enjoy free, unstructured time. Our constant connection and need to accomplish things stops us from observing the world around us, soaking in unmediated experiences, and letting our minds wander, which in the end is one of the most productive things that we do. To live full and fulfilling lives, we need that space. Rest, taking a break, Sabbath, is deeply embedded in the Scriptures. From the creation narratives in Genesis all the way to Revelation, Sabbath is one of the most important practices of the faithful. Hebrews 4 reminds us that the Lord offers an invitation to, quote, enter God's rest and also cease from their labors as God did from his, unquote. In our theological tradition, observing the Sabbath was a way to imitate God who rested on the seventh day, to make space for worship, and to reflect on the goodness of God, being reminded of God's goodness and that God has given us the ability to rest from our labors. There's a deep sense that Sabbath rest is not only commanded by God, but that it's good for us. The Swiss theologian Karl Barth wrote about Sabbath saying, it speaks of limiting man's activity to the extent that this is, generally speaking, his own work, his own understanding and achievement, the job he does for his livelihood and in the service of the community. It says that, in deference to God, and to hear the meaning of his work, there must be from time to time an interruption, a rest, a deliberate non-continuation, a temporal pause, to reflect on God and his work, and to participate consciously in the salvation provided by him and to be awaited from him. It says that man's own work is to be performed as a work bounded by this continually recurring interruption. This interruption is the holy day. Now, I know that there are many who can tell horror stories of the abuse of the Sabbath, where one could do nothing but read the Bible or take a nap. This doesn't mean, however, that the Sabbath should be eliminated just because people have abused it. A better understanding of Sabbath invites us to take regular time for thought, reflection, prayer, worship, and to enjoy the good things that God gives us. When we practice Sabbath, it helps us keep our lives and our work in check. It gives us time to rest and reset, and especially to acknowledge our gratitude to God for God's goodness. To practice Sabbath is, as Bart says, a continually recurring interruption. But perhaps interruption is exactly what we most need. Today's poem comes from Kenneth Stephen. I met him on the boat on the way back from Iona just this past Friday. This poem he wrote is called Prayer. I selected this poem because it captures for me the power of time away from our everyday experience that can open us up to the power of God's reality and presence. Again, the poem is called Prayer, and it's by Kenneth Stephen. If you do not believe in God, go on a blue spring day across these fields. Listen to the orchids, race the sea, scent the wind. Come back and tell it was all an accident, a collision of blind chance in the empty hugeness of space. Today's prayer is a prayer of commitment intended for use in worship. It comes from the Iona Abbey worship book. In gratitude for this moment, this place, those around us, Christ among us, we give ourselves to you, our God. Take us out to live as changed people because we have met the risen Christ and cannot be the same. Ask much of us, expect much from us, enable much by us, encourage many through us, so we may live to your glory, both as inhabitants of earth and citizens of the commonwealth of heaven. Amen. Everyone, I hope that you have a great rest of your week and a great long weekend. I also hope that you'll plan to join us for worship on Sunday. We are gathering at 9 o'clock for our traditional service and 10:30 for our Southridge service, and I really hope that I will see you on Sunday. All right? Have a great week, everyone. Bye-bye.